Just remember whether we started doing this language variation and change.
Yes, madam.
These are the topics under that.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Did we complete this?
Yeah, madam.
Okay, may I show you the last slide there? Yeah, Pidgins and Creoles we did. Yeah, okay, we have completed. So we'll move to the next topic. Okay. Yeah, what about this topic?
We finished, madam.
Yes or no? Did we start this?
Yeah, madam.
Pragmatics?
We have finished that topic, madam.
Yeah.
Our new lesson is, madam, language acquisition.
Okay, sure. Still 17 students are here. Okay. Okay, shall we start? Oh, this
Okay,
is
ma'am.
the topic.
Okay, ma'am.
Acquisition and learning. to be more clear, we'll put in language. Language acquisition and learning. So this is a very broad topic because acquisition and learning under these two terms, there's a lot to be spoken. Okay, so what is your idea about language acquisition and learning? Are these terms familiar to you? Language acquisition, learning. There are three terms. Language, of course, it's familiar to you. Acquisition and learning. What do you know about this? No idea. Yes? Yeah, what's your idea?
Acquisition is something related to a natural process.
Yeah, acquisition. Yeah, what you told is correct. So then what about learning?
Learning, we do it by ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not natural. We have to train ourselves to learn something.
Yeah, exactly. That's correct. Who is that? Okay.
Buddhika, ma'am.
Buddhika. Yeah, what Buddhika told is correct actually. Okay, so now we will learn about it. Yeah, read it. When you finish reading, let me know. Language is a fundamental tool for communication and a cornerstone of human experience. Okay, so then language functions as a fundamental, basic a tool for communication. Okay, all the people in this world, they communicate using a language. And also, it is a cornerstone of human experience. Cornerstones means when we are building, when we are constructing a building, at four corners, we will lay very strong stones because there will be four pillars going up from these four corners. So everywhere it should be very strong, but especially these four corners should be very strong. Okay, communication and a cornerstone. So then language can be taken as one cornerstone of human experience. But how do we actually acquire and learn our languages? Learn languages. Okay. So there is a question. How do we acquire and learn a language? How do we acquire and learn a language? So there are two different processes. There are two different ways that we acquire and learn a language or languages. Okay, one process is language acquisition. The other one is language learning, of course. Okay, so first we'll take language acquisition, unconscious process. As Buddhika told, language acquisition is unconscious. That means without our knowledge, it's happening. This is the natural way children pick up their first language or native language without any formal instruction. Every human being acquire their mother tongue, native language or first language. They are simply exposed to the language in their environment and begin to understand, speak, and produce it over time. Okay, so because since their childhood, since the day that they were born to this world, they are getting exposure to the native language because their parents are talking in the particular language, the friends, relatives. So as a result, they start understanding, speaking, and producing the native language. So that is something unconscious. Okay, I know here in this lecture, there are students who are Muslims and who are Sinhalese. So think about how you start talking in your mother tongue. It's not through learning. You did not attend Tamil classes or Sinhalese classes to know how to speak in Sinhala or Tamil. That is through exposure. Is it clear?
Yes, madam.
It's
Yes,
a
madam.
very natural way
Yes,
of,
madam.
yeah, okay. We'll go further. So when we talk about language acquisition, these things are also very famous, these concepts actually. We'll get to know them. Okay. What is this critical period? There is a sensitive period generally considered to be before puberty. Okay, so before a child attains age. So before 14 years, okay, we'll take the limit as age 14. When the brain is optimally wired for language acquisition. Okay, under critical period hypothesis, it is believed until a particular age, maybe age 14, until that age, the children's mind is elastic. It's just like elastic for language acquisition. That means it's not fixed. Still, until age 14, children can acquire a language. During this time, children can effortlessly absorb the complexities of language, including grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. Okay, so here what is meant is actually until this critical period, children can effortlessly absorb the language. They need not to struggle. So automatically they have a possibility to acquire a language. So this critical period, the concept is very popular in the field of language, linguistics for a long time. But this concept has been challenged by later discoveries actually. But still, critical period is an important concept of linguistics. Are you clear with the critical period concept? So according to this belief, this was very popular in the past. After a person's critical period is over, that it's very difficult for that person to learn or acquire a language. At that time, the people believed all people, the matured people, cannot learn or acquire a language just like small kids. Is it clear? If it is not clear, you can ask. Yes, think whether you got it. Are you confused with critical period?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So then critical period is a popular concept in the past, which was always going with language acquisition. Okay, whenever it is spoken about language acquisition in the past, especially, even now, okay, but not very popular like in the past, they were talking about linguists, something called critical period. That means every human being having a particular period of time when they can easily expose to a language. That critical period is from birth to age 14, something similar to that. Okay, that means in the past it was highly believed if you are going to expose your child to a new language, the ideal age is birth to 14 years. But that is true. We can't reject this. That's correct actually. When parents are going to foreign countries, when their children are very small, they will quickly acquire a foreign language just like native speakers. When elderly people are going to a foreign country, they will learn a language, but there is a difference. That's not acquiring, that is something artificial, just like learning. Okay, so what is this holistic approach? Okay, holistic approach. Okay, we'll understand what this holistic approach. Language acquisition involves a holistic understanding of language. Holistic means as a whole, the very broad, complete. It's like in Sinhala we call samastayakma. Children don't learn grammar rules explicitly, but rather pick them up through implicit exposure and use. When it comes to grammar rules, here you can think about your mother tongue. Okay, as a small child, you did not learn grammar of your mother tongue. Nobody explained you how to keep subject, verb, object like that. But as a small child, you pick them up through your exposure and use. Okay, but you caught them through your exposure. And you can remember how your parents are talking, how your brothers and sisters are talking, relatives are talking. So you have an exposure. So you learn those grammar. They learn the sounds. So you know, a language is having different important sections. That is phonology, morphology, syntax, semantic, like that. So small children, they learn all these, not only phonology, even the semantic, the syntax, morphology, everything. Patterns of language intuitively. Intuitively means automatically they learn all these things. When you take your language, Tamil language or Sinhalese language, it contains phonology, pronunciation, syntax, grammar, semantic, meaning, morphology, formation of words. Children acquire all these things. So that is why it is called, it's a kind of holistic approach. Is it clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Let me highlight it. Okay, now we are moving to language learning. Earlier what we talked, that is language acquiring.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Unlike language acquisition, language learning is a conscious process. Conscious means it's not natural. We know that we are learning a language. So this is the formal method of learning a new language. Typically through classroom instruction, textbooks, or language learning apps. In this modern world, we have language learning apps also. Okay. So this, when we are learning a language, it's not natural. We know that we are learning a language. Most probably we will be learning a language in classroom setup. The teacher is there, teacher will be giving us instructions, textbooks are there. It's like that. It involves a deliberate effort to learn grammar rules. Okay, in language learning setup, we deliberately learn grammar rules, vocabulary, and sentence structures. So we can't learn them without our knowledge. So purposely, we learn all these things. Okay. Here also, let me highlight. I highlighted, but it was not saved. Okay, read this also. Is this the one? Okay, correct. This one.
Okay, madam.
Sorry. Language learning focuses on specific skills. So when we are acquiring a language, we will be acquiring each and every corner of a language. But when it comes to language learning, it's basically certain specific skills only. Language learning often emphasizes specific skills like reading, writing, or conversation. So there are different skills in a language, but language learning focuses certain specific skills. Learners may be explicitly taught grammatical rules and memorize vocabulary lists. Okay, when it comes to language learning, they learn, or learners are taught grammatical rules and they memorize vocabulary list. You know, when you were small also, you were given dictation. Okay. Language learning can happen at any age, applicable at any age, while the critical period is crucial for effortless language acquisition. Okay. So now you know what critical period is. Critical period is limited. That means, according to critical period hypothesis, language acquisition can occur only within a short period of time. Correct? So there are exceptions nowadays, but in the past, it was highly believed language acquisition occurs up to certain age, maybe around 14 years. But language learning can occur at any age. Even a 50 years old person can learn a new language. Even 70 years old person can learn a new language. Learning can occur at any time of the life. But acquiring, it was limited only to the critical period. However, it may require more effort and dedicated study compared to acquiring a first language during childhood. Okay, when we are learning a language, we have to be more dedicative, and we have to study hard, as we have to remember certain things. It's completely different from how we acquire our first language. Language learning and language acquiring, they are different actually. I'll show you the differences here. You can see. Most of the things which I highlighted, they are not saved here. Let me do it at least now. Okay, once again, sorry. This will summarize the most important features, the similarities. There are no similarities here, but actually the basic differences.
Okay, madam.
Okay. So when we pay our attention to the process, language acquisition, it is unconscious without our knowledge. It's natural. Language learning is conscious. We know we are learning a language and the process is not natural. It looks a bit artificial. Then when we talk about the age sensitivity, for language acquisition, there is a particular duration that is called critical period, birth to 14 years. When it comes to language learning, it can occur at any age. So when we talk about the same regarding approach, language acquisition, it is holistic. It's as a whole, everything is paid attention. But when it comes to language learning, focus on specific skills because everything in the language cannot be taught. So teachers are selecting certain things, certain skills and teaching children. But when we are acquiring a language, we acquire everything. Okay?
Okay, madam.
Okay. So the interplay between acquisition and learning. So then that is the title. Ne? Interplay. So that means language learning and acquisition, they are interconnected. So that is the basic idea. While distinct process, these are two different processes, but still language acquisition and learning can complement each other. So they are interrelated. They support each other. Exposure to a language through immersion, as in acquisition, can create foundation for later formal learning. Sometimes your immersion, how you got to know a particular language, may be through acquiring. But later, you may decide to learn the same language. So just like this, we'll see here the Muslim students, when they are living with Sinhalese neighbors, they may acquire even the Sinhalese language since their childhood. Okay. The same way, the Sinhalese children who are living with Muslim community, they may acquire Tamil language since their childhood. But later, what they acquired is not sufficient. They may start learning the language. For an example, Tamil children may start learning Sinhalese language, and Sinhalese children, they may start learning Tamil language. Okay, so maybe for a certain period, language is acquired, and later the language is learned. Conversely, structured language learning can enhance understanding and fluency gained through initial acquisition. When they start learning the acquired language, it will enlarge language understanding. It's better actually. See the example. A child growing up in a bilingual household. Bilingual means some children grow up in a house where they have exposure to two languages. Naturally acquires both languages through everyday interactions. And you know, there are Sinhalese families, they talk in English. There are Tamil families, Muslim families who talk in English. So at home, they equally talk both languages, Sinhala and English, or Tamil and English. So the children who are born to those families, they will acquire both languages. Okay. Then an adult talking a Spanish class to learn grammar rules and vocabulary for travel is engaged in language learning. Okay, so then maybe for an example, an adult may take grammar classes to learn rules and vocabulary for their other purposes, just like traveling, higher education. It's like that. Okay, so that means I will see like that a child who had an exposure to English language in their home environment, okay, may learn that language to pass IELTS. Okay, did you get the point? The child can talk in English. A child can understand English because parents are talking in English at home, but the child is not an English child. Okay, so the child can talk both languages, mother tongue and English, very nicely through exposure. But this child wants to go to a foreign country for higher studies. Then child needs to get high marks, very good marks at IELTS exam. So even though this particular child is having exposure to English language, he may start learning English language. Okay, so from this slide, you can understand acquisition and learning, they are interrelated and interconnected. Is it clear? Is it not clear? It's something like that. I can't say I learned this language through acquiring only. Or I learned this language through learning only. Not for all, for some children, huh? Because they have used both methods to acquire and learn a language. Part of the language is through acquiring, the other part is through learning. Now is it clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Okay. Language acquisition is the natural subconscious way we pick up our first language, while language learning is the deliberate effort to learn a new language through formal instruction. Okay, so that is the basic difference. Both processes play a role in our linguistic development and understanding. The difference can help us approach language learning more effectively. Okay, so we can't say one is more important than the other. It's not like that. Both are two different ways of language acquiring and language learning. At the same time, you better know these two terms are used synonymously. So what is the meaning there? So when we generally talk, instead of acquiring, we use the term learn. Instead of learn, we use the term acquire. So they are synonymous. But they are different. But when we use it generally, they are synonymous. They are similar in meaning. Did you get a general idea about language learning and acquiring? So then you have to switch off your microphone, otherwise we can hear you what you are talking at home. Okay, so next we'll go to this. So then when it comes to language learning and acquiring, there are certain important theories. I call them theories you need to know. So here our purpose is not to learn all these theories A to Z. It's impossible. But you should know them. At least you should have some general idea about them. Okay, so then behaviorism is a particular theory. I have used it as they are in the syllabus. Cognitivism, socio-cultural theory, Krashen's input hypothesis. Out of these, we'll learn one by one. Okay, behaviorism. Yeah, just read. My target is to give you a general idea about this. Otherwise, behaviorism is a very huge theory.
Okay, madam.
Okay, behaviorism. Behaviorism is a theory of learning that states all behaviors are learned through conditioned interaction with the environment. Okay, so this is related to language learning also. According to behaviorism theory, it is believed that all behaviors are learned through conditioned interaction with the environment. Okay, there should be certain conditions interacted with the environment. Through those conditions only, we learn behaviors. Thus, behavior is simply a response to environmental stimuli. Okay, so we will learn this further. So, our behaviors are reaction to environmental stimuli according to this theory. That means when we react the environmental stimuli, we learn behaviors. That is the theory. Okay. The behaviorist theory is only concerned with observable stimulus response behaviors as they can study it in a systematic and observable manner. Okay, the behaviorism theory, they concern only the observable behavior. So human beings are having different behaviors. Some behaviors are observable. We can see them. Some behaviors are not observable. Okay, so under behaviorism, we focus only on the behavior that can be observed. Okay, so then if I explain you once again, behaviorism believes that human beings' behaviors are as a result of their interaction with the environment. When we go to interact with the environment, we show different behaviors. We'll go further, then we'll see whether it is understood. Okay, we'll see a focus on observable behavior. The behaviorism theory focuses on observable behavior. Unlike other theories that delve into internal mental status, for an example, there is a theory called cognitivism. It is paying attention to the internal mental structure of human being. But theory of behaviorism focuses solely on what we can see and measure. So what we can see and measure. The behaviors organism exhibits. Okay, so under behaviorism, we are focusing on observable behavior. Next one, learning through conditioning. Behaviorists believe learning happens through conditioning, a process where the consequences of a behavior influence whether it is repeated. Okay, so that means there are certain behaviors which are repeated. Okay, but to decide whether this behavior is repeated or not, certain conditions apply. Okay, just think about it. There are certain behaviors which are repeated. And to repeat those behavior, there should be certain condition. Something like this. So then when small children do something good, parents, teachers, they appreciate them. They say, okay, you have done a very nice job, very good child, like that. So they tend to repeat it. But when children do certain behaviors, we don't encourage. For an example, stealing. So then we don't encourage them to do. We discourage them. So they don't repeat those behavior. So that is the meaning of learning through conditioning. There should be certain conditions. Then only they will repeat or they will not repeat the behavior. I will give you a time to discuss. Yeah. So these are the key figures, the core principle of behaviorism. Simply read. Okay. Key figure. B.F. Skinner is a prominent figure in behaviorism. So he is the key figure of behaviorism. B.F. Skinner, a theory that emphasizes learning through conditioning. The behaviorism is a theory that emphasizes learning through condition. We learn through conditions. Okay, the core principle, the basic, the most important principle of behaviorism is called stimulus response, SR. S for stimulus, R for response. This principle suggests that external cues stimuli trigger out reaction. Okay, so for us to react, there should be a type of external stimuli. So if we do not receive external stimuli, we will not react. Imagine a bell ringing before you get food. Okay, so you are having your breakfast quickly, but before you complete your food, bell starts ringing, making you salivate in anticipation. So how will be your behavior? So you will quickly eat and you will gulp everything because you know now it is time pass. Okay, so then unless this bell rings, if this bell is not rung, you will not have your breakfast so quickly. Okay, so for everything we should have a stimulus, then only we will respond.
Okay, madam.
And reinforcement. The consequences of our responses play a crucial role. So when we respond, we receive responses and it plays a very important role. Positive consequences like praise or reward strengthen the connection between stimulus and the desired response. So when we respond, if we are praised, if we are appreciated, if we are rewarded, we know that there is a strong relationship between stimulus and the response. So we will repeat it, making it more likely to be repeated. Conversely, negative consequences, punishment, weaken this connection. So if we are punished for our responses, we will not repeat it. Okay, so consequences for the response also play an important role. When small children do good things, we appreciate them. So then they will repeat it. But when they do bad things, we will punish them. So they will not repeat it. Okay, so this is the end of. Okay. Okay, now tell me whether you got some idea about behaviorism.
Yes, madam.
Oh, behaviorism, if I tell you once again, those who forgot. So then according to behaviorism, it is said that our behaviors are, we learn behaviors through conditioned interaction with the environment. We are living in an environment. When we live in an environment, we have interactions with the environment. So we have different behaviors. So that is the behaviorism. An application of behaviorism. See. Okay. Application of behaviorism. Yes, so behaviorism, it was a very popular theory, language learning and acquiring theory in the past. So, to implement this behaviorism, the theory, there was a teaching method. Okay, did you get the point? So, when this behaviorism, the theory was very popular, they had invented a particular method to teach languages. Yeah, check whether you got the point. Behaviorism, it was a language theory which was very popular in the past. To implement the ideas of this theory, behaviorism, that they had invented a teaching method that is called the audiolingual method. Okay, this is how it happens. The audiolingual method, ALM, popular in the mid-20th century, around 1950s. It was very, very popular. Drew heavily from behaviorist principle. Yeah. Drills and repetition as stimuli. Audiolingual method emphasizes repetitive practice of grammar structures and dialogues. So under audiolingual method, the grammar structures were repeated. Dialogues were repeated. This constant exposure acts as a stimulus for the learner. Okay, just imagine the teacher taught children simple present tense. After that, teacher is drilling or repeating the grammar structure. Teacher will say, she goes to school. The whole class will repeat it. Then teacher will say, he plays cricket. Then teacher will say, I go to school. We go to school. They go to school. She goes to school. Just like that. Drills and repetition, they were very common under audiolingual methods.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Positive reinforcement for correct responses. When learners produce correct responses during drills, they might receive praise or positive feedback. Okay, when students are repeating or producing correct responses, teachers will praise or will give positive feedback. This reinforcement strengthens the association between the stimulus. Example, a question in the target language. So when teachers praise the children for their correct responses, they will have a desire for the response. They will respond it very positively. They will desire it. And then second one, mimicking native speakers. Similar to the SR response, audiolingual method encourages learners to mimic native speakers' pronunciation and sentence structures. Okay, so under audiolingual method, okay, so here you can see audiolingual method. Under this, the native speaker's pronunciation was encouraged. Okay, now according to the modern way, we say there's no point of pronouncing words like native speakers. We are Sri Lankans, we have Sri Lankan accents. Indians, they have Indian accents. Okay, so we should not follow received pronunciation. That means we should not worship British pronunciation. So that is the modern concept. But under audiolingual methods, learners were encouraged to pronounce words like native speakers. By imitating the correct response repeatedly, learners solidified the desired association. To have this native-like pronunciation, they were supposed to continuously repeat the pronunciation words. Okay, next one.
Okay, madam.
Yes. So then under audiolingual method, learners' native language was not used actually. Audiolingual method often discourages using the learner's native language in class. Okay, so this aims to create an environment where the target language becomes the primary stimulus for response. Okay, so then when learning English, only English was used. Sinhala or Tamil languages were not used. Further strengthening the SR, stimuli response connection in the target language. Okay, that is in a way good, but in a way not correct actually. So now what is encouraged? So when we are teaching English even, if students are struggling in understanding certain terms, yeah, you can use mother tongue, no issue. Just to explain certain things. But under audiolingual method, only the English language, only the target language was used. Mother tongue was not used. Okay, now we'll see.
Okay, madam.
Yeah, okay. A critical look at the audiolingual method. So now we were talking about audiolingual method. Now we'll see what are the criticism against it. While behaviorism offered a framework for language learning, audiolingual method has received some criticism. So there are some criticism against audiolingual method, not against behaviorism. Overemphasis on drills. Audiolingual method can become repetitive and lack opportunities for creative language use. When students are learning a language through drilling, drilling means the teacher is reading something, students, they have to repeat. Constant drilling may not be engaging for all learners. Okay, when students are drilling, there's no chance for creativity. Okay, they are just repeating what teacher is telling. There's no chance for their creative ideas. And at the same time, all the students, they may not like drilling. There may be students who hate drilling. So that is one criticism.
Okay, madam.
Yes. Focus on drills over communication. The emphasis on drills might overshadow the ultimate goal of using the language for communication. Okay? So what is the purpose of communication? Sorry, language. Purpose of language, the main purpose of language is for communication. But under audiolingual method, when the focus is more on drill, the purpose of communication will be ignored. So that may happen. Learners may struggle to transfer their drills responses to real world conversation. Okay, so this method is now not actually practicing. It is practiced up to a certain extent. So when teachers focus on drilling, the students will do drilling properly. But later, when they come across real world conversation situations, they may struggle because they are okay with drilling. But when it comes to real world situation, they may struggle. And then limited learner focus. Audiolingual method doesn't fully consider individual learning styles and may not cater to diverse students' needs. Okay, so audiolingual method focuses on only on the drilling. They don't consider individual learner differences, styles. If there are 50 students in the class, there may be different learning styles they like. But audiolingual method is only following drilling. Some learners might benefit more from a more interactive approach. There may be learners who like interactive approach, who like to do pair work, group work, like that. But audiolingual method does not give any room for those things. And now just check whether you got some clear idea about behaviorism. I will quickly change the slides, but just see whether you got the idea properly. Okay, I'll change the next slide. See whether these, if anything is not clear, you can ask.
Madam,
Yeah,
can you please explain focus on observer behavior?
okay. Unlike other theories, so then this is only one theory, behaviorism. There are other theories like cognitivism. For an example, that next we will be doing the theory cognitivism. So there the focus is on our brain function. So when we are learning a language, how does our brain works? Okay, so that means how when we get new information, how our brain gets them and store them inside our brain. And then when we want, how they are taken back like that. And that is called schema theory. Right? So, but our brain function, we can't see. We know there are left hemisphere, right hemisphere, one hemisphere is more appropriate for language learning. Like that, we know these things, but we can't observe them. Okay, but under behaviorism, we are focusing on observable behavior. How learners speak, how learners pronounce words. It's like that. Is it clear now?
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Next slide. Okay. So then,
Okay, madam.
Okay, next one. Okay, so then drills and repetitions as stimuli. We have discussed these things. I am just giving you a chance to check whether things are clear to you or not.
Okay, madam.
Okay.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Last bit, a critical look at the audiolingual method.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Okay. Shall we just touch cognitivism? If you are not tired, so then we can complete it next week. But still, shall we start it?
Okay, madam.
Okay. So there is another language learning theory called cognitivism.
Okay, madam.
Okay, cognitivism. The learning theory of cognitivism concentrates on how a person's mind receives, organizes, saves, and retrieves information. You see, so this is about our mind. Under cognitivism, the theory, we talk about how a person mind receives, organizes, saves, and retrieves information. Okay, is it something observable? Can we see how our mind receives information, how it organizes information, and save and retrieves? That means whenever we want, it comes back. The cognitive theory believes that the human mind functions like an information processor or computer. So under cognitivism, we can see our brain is functioning like an information processor or computer. Actually, our brain is more complex than the function of a computer. Therefore, the cognitivist approach looks beyond noticeable behavior, considering learning as an internal mental process. So, under cognitivism, the theory focuses beyond noticeable behavior because our brain function is something that we can't see. But this theory talks about that internal mental process, which is beyond observing.
Okay, madam.
Yeah. So then when it comes to cognitivism, there are two personalities who contributed this. Actually, this was initiated by Jean Piaget. The Piaget proposed that learners actively construct their understanding of the world through stages of cognitive development. Okay, so children, they understand the world through stages of cognitive development. How a small child understands the world is different from how an elderly person understands the world. He emphasized the importance of schemas, mental framework for organizing knowledge. Told you schema theory. So Jean Piaget, he focused on the importance of schemas, mental framework for organizing knowledge. So these schemas, they are some brain streams, brain functions, which are important for organizing knowledge. And then next one is Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky introduced the concept of the zone of proximal development, ZPD, zone of proximal development. This is the gap between what a learner can do independently and what they can achieve with guidance or collaboration. That's what Vygotsky taught. And when we take a learner, there is something that she can do individually with their capacity. But at the same time, if they are given guidance and collaboration, they can do that same task in a different way. Okay, so if I tell you once again, if you are given a task to do all alone, you can do it to a particular extent. But if you are helped and given guidance, you can do the same task in a better way. So there is a gap between your individual performance and your performance after guidance and support. And that difference is called zone of proximal development.
Okay, madam.
Schema. We learn by fitting new information into existing mental frameworks. Okay, so then, so when we get to know something new information, okay, you just see you are reading stuff, new one, which you haven't read early. And by reading that, you get new information. And then your new information will go and deposit in the existing mental framework. The mental frameworks, they are called schemas. If something doesn't fit, so just imagine your new information does not fit with the existing information. We modify our schemas to accommodate the new information. So, but still, we clear certain accommodation for new information. You might have heard of there are huge libraries in the world. All these libraries are secondary to the function of our brain. So there are different cells, different compartments for different knowledge. For an example, the things which I did, the foolish things which I did, and there is a rack like that. So every foolish action you did, they are stored there. The generous things which I did, and there is a cell for that. So just like that. Okay. So there are schemas. And when we receive new knowledge, they are also stored on the existing knowledge. But if the new knowledge does not fit the existing knowledge, the brain accommodates new information separately. So according to cognitivism, it is believed that learners construct knowledge of the world through experience and interaction. The learners, they construct new knowledge through their experience and interaction. They are not passive recipient of information. Okay, so learners are not just passive recipient. Passive means not active. Okay, so then according to cognitivism, it is believed that learners are not inactive. They are very, very active. According to before constructivism, there was a theory called positivism. According to positivism, it was believed that learners' heads are empty vessels. So learners' heads are empty vessels. The teacher's task is to fill these empty vessels with the knowledge that they have. Just imagine. So heads of children are empty. So they need to be filled with teachers by their knowledge. That is positivism. But constructivism, it was different. They thought, constructivist theories, they thought children are not with empty heads. Their heads are not empty. They contain knowledge. What teachers are doing is building new knowledge on the existing knowledge. When children go to school to grade 1, they are knowledgeable. There's something in their brain. What teachers are doing, building new knowledge on existing knowledge.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Can you remember to implement behaviorism? There was a method, audio-lingual method. The same way, to implement the ideas of cognitivism, there was a methodology. That is called task-based learning. Okay. For a task-based learning focuses on meaningful tasks. Task-based learning emphasizes tasks that requires learners to use language for real-world purposes. Under task-based learning, learners are encouraged to use language for real-world purposes. It's not drilling. Learners are encouraged to use language for real-world conditions. This helps them build schemas for using the language in different contexts. So as a result, learners will be able to use the language at different contexts. Active construction of knowledge instead of rote memorization. Rote memorization means learning by heart. Task-based learning encourages learners to actively use their existing knowledge and skills to complete tasks. Okay, so this is not rote memorization. Learners are encouraged to use their existing knowledge and skill to complete tasks. This strengthens their understanding and promotes schema development. Okay, this strengthens their understanding and promotes schema development. Okay, so when they are encouraged to actively use existing knowledge, it will help them to understand and promote schema development. Their brain capacity will be developed.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Learning with ZPD. What is the meaning of ZPD here? Can you remember we learned? Yeah, let me show it to you. Where is that? Zonal. Where is that? Huh? Can you remember zonal proximity? Show it to you. I can't remember the place. Here, here. This is not there. Zone of proximal development. I just wanted to verify it. Okay. Zone of proximal development. This is the range of challenges slightly beyond learners' independent capabilities, but achievable with support. Zonal proximal development means there is a gap between what a learner can do individually and what a learner can do with the support of the teacher. That gap. So this is the range of challenges slightly beyond learners' independent capabilities, but achievable with support. Example, scaffolding from a teacher or more skilled peers. The teachers can support this, or else the peers can support this. This is what we did. A focus on meaningful task. A task-based learning emphasizes tasks that require learners to use language for real-world purposes. This helps them build schemas for using the language in different.
Yes, madam.
Learning with zonal proximal development. Task-based learning tasks are designed to be challenging but achievable with support. So under task-based learning, as the name says, task-based. So we are giving children a type of challenging task. They are not very easy, bit challenging. But with the support, they can achieve them. Teachers can provide scaffolding. Scaffolding means guidance, prompts, feedback to help learners complete tasks with their zonal proximal development, promoting growth. Okay, so under task-based learning, learners are given challenging tasks, but with the support, they can achieve them. Then collaboration and interaction. Task-based learning often involves collaboration, allowing learners to learn from each other and negotiate meaning with the ZPD. This fosters social learning and the development of shared schemas. Under task-based learning, learners are not learning individually. They learn together. That is the meaning of collaboration and interaction. Okay. So they are developing social learning and development of shared schemas. Task-based learning, under that, learners are not individual. Learners are together learning. Last part we'll do here. Benefits of task-based learning: increased motivation. Engaging tasks can make learners more motivating and enjoyable for students. So then, because of task-based learning, students will be motivated. So they will enjoy learning because they are learning as a group, not individually. Improved communication skills. By using language for real-world purposes, learners develop fluency and accuracy in spoken and written communication. So they learn language naturally, fitting for real-world situation. So automatically they will develop fluency and accuracy, both in spoken and written form. And deeper understanding of language. Task-based learning encourages learners to think critically about language and how it functions in various contexts. Okay, so then under task-based learning, students will get a deeper understanding of language because that's not something artificial. It's not like drilling. Okay, so I will share the slides after the lecture, then you will receive it Still, we have some more theories and we'll continue doing them next week. Otherwise, two more theories are there. So we will be finishing them next week. Shall we wind up the session here?
Okay, madam.
Okay, I will share the slides, then you can go through it. Okay.
Okay, madam.
Okay, good night.
Good night, madam. Thank you, madam.
Okay, welcome.